Heng. He's a medical social worker, so slightly different from Chui Hong. And he did the grad dip. So we have one from accelerated bachelor's and one from grad dip. So you can see the difference and how they feel. Okay, Heng.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Heng. Currently, I'm a medical social worker at St. Andrew's Community Hospital. So I've just received my results for my final module just a couple of days ago. So officially, I've graduated. So I'm at the end of my graduate diploma, my training, but I'm at the start of my social work career. So just some things I would like to share with you besides what Chui Hong has shared. First of all, I think before going right now, at this stage, you're thinking about social work. So I think before you start your journey, two things I would like to share also. Number one is maybe you have to develop some self-awareness, as in what is your personal reason, what's your personal story in wanting to go into social work. I think it's very important that you're very clear about this, because your own process, your own journey may not be so smooth sailing. There'll be ups and downs along the way. So if you're not clear about why you are in this, so when times are challenging, you may be asking, why am I doing this? So you must be clear about it. And also later on, when you're trying to look for an employer in your interviews and all that, they would want to know, why are you in social work? So try to ask yourself, what's the reason? Be clear about that. And the other thing is also to develop a realistic understanding of what social work is before you step in. So like attending this preview is one way that you can do it. Other ways that are volunteering. Okay, if you are in some VWOs and there are social workers there, grab the opportunity to maybe speak to them, to know the intricacies of their daily work. That will be useful as well. Read up on what social work is. Don't go in blind, because some people may have their own preconceived ideas about what social work is, and it may be very different after you join in. Then this is not what I expected. Correct? So have all these preparation done. So once you're sure, then you can proceed with your journey. So the first part is the application, right? Then after that, once you've sent in an application and you've been shortlisted, they will actually request you to come for a networking session with employers, prospective employers. So that time when I had it was in this room, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So they have many different tables set up with all the different VWOs. So it's really like a matchmaking session. So it's like a match scramble, going to all the different, and people like queuing up. So there's queue. So you're given a few hours, I think, 2 to 3 hours for the whole session. So I think my advice is, I think before you come for the session, they will have given you a list of the participating VWOs. So maybe take the time to go through the list, find out a little bit about the VWOs, what they do, the clientele they serve, the type of work they do, so that you have to match with what you want to do. If you're interested in elder care, then you pay attention to those. If you're interested in youth work, you pay attention to those. Okay, maybe I haven't given my background. Yeah, I haven't introduced. I was previously a paramedic with Singapore Civil Defence Force. So I was with them for 12 over years. So I've reached a point where I felt very stagnated in my previous job. That's why I decided to do a career switch, because I wanted, in my previous job, I wanted to do more, I wanted to learn more, but I felt very stagnated. So that's why I decided for a career switch. So coming into social work, why I chose social work was because I wanted a new career where there's ample opportunities for continuous growth and development. So I found that social work is able to meet that. The second thing is I wanted whatever knowledge and skills that I've learned, that I can help somebody, make an impact, make a difference, however big or small, correct? Then the last one is I also learned about social work, the values that social work prescribes, for example, like respecting the right of the client for self-determination, social justice, things like that. So I felt it resonated with my own personal values. That's why I decided to go into social work. And I was also very sure, because of my background in healthcare as a paramedic, that I wanted to do medical social work. So coming into this process, I was very, very clear. I wanted to do social work, why I wanted to do social work, what field of social work do I want to do. So when I went for the sessions, my mind was very focused because there was only one hospital, and that was St. Andrew's Community Hospital. Of course, there is in your application you can choose either medical social worker or social worker. I did tick for both, but somehow I wasn't shortlisted for the medical social work with the acute hospitals like CGH and Kutek Point, right? Those, yeah. So, so the only hospital available to me was St. Andrews, so I queued for that, and also queued for another agency. So, I think during this session, it's not to panic, not to go to all the different VWs, because I think there's a limited number of interviews that you can do, because most of the time you are actually just queuing there. Yeah. So actually the actual interview takes up to like 20% of the time. The rest of the time I'm just sitting in queue. Yeah. So for myself, only managed to speak to 3 employers. Okay. The first employer was a Christian VWO doing youth work. So but after during the interview, then they told me that they only recruit Christian employees. I wasn't a Christian, so that didn't fall through. Then the other 2 was St. Andrews and also Caregivers Welfare Association. So so I'm only managed to speak to 3. Actually, it's quite risky, yeah. On hindsight, it would have been better if I could have spoken to more. So what you can do is to be very clear what VWs you're interested in. Try to queue for those as your priority. Yeah, and try to secure as many interviews as you can. Then subsequently, they will call you for an interview. So the main part, the crucial point about this whole process, I think, is securing employment. Because if you cannot secure employment, basically you cannot be in the program. Yeah. So then the next part I will share is regarding once you're in the program, the study and the work thing. A lot has already been shared already, but from the graduate diploma point of view, during my time we had lessons on Saturday and Sunday for 1 week. Then for Saturday the class is from about 1 o'clock until usually about 6. Then for the one on Sunday is a full day, starting from 9 in the morning, usually all the way down to 5 or 6 or so. Yeah, sometimes, so it's actually for my batch that time, because now it's only every Saturday. Yeah, so the time actually over the weekend, by the end of the second day, all of us are basically like brain very numb already, because it's very intensive. It's very intensive. So then my time is alternate week. So 1 week we'll study, then 1 week we don't have. But right now it's every week. But I don't think you should underestimate it. Yeah. Although it's every week, Saturday you have Sunday off, but I think those off days that you have is also to do assignments. Yeah, because there's also, the assignment part is quite challenging, especially for some of us mid-career switchers who have not been to school for very long. So academic skills-wise may be quite rusty. So I think one thing to do is to, before the start of the course, prepare academically, maybe just to read up on how to do assignment again, correct? What's the process and all that, yeah, because it can be, don't underestimate assignments. It's not just like you can just sit there 2 hours, you can complete it. Usually it's a process about reading, understanding, then formulating your answer, rewriting. So actually, don't underestimate the process, yeah. So other things is that you have a choice between usually prescribed is for 4-day week. If your financial situation is able to allow that, or your agency allows it, try to stick to the 4 days. It's very helpful. For myself, I did the 4 days, but I have classmates who did 5 days work or more than 5 days, and I can see that it's already quite taxing on me already. I can imagine how more it would be for them. So 4 days with the additional off day, it helps. And also not just to help give you more time to do your schoolwork, but I think it's to give a bit of work-life balance, because most people here would have their own family commitments and all that, right? So it's not easy. You have still that part that you need to deal with. And also, if you continuously work for 5 days, then after you go for school, there's no break at all. You can get exhausted very easily. So the extra off day is really very, very helpful. Yeah. So another thing is, so get your family, talk to them that you're going to this. You really need their support and understanding, because you would need your own time to study, you would need your time to do assignments and all that. And some of your family commitments may suffer because of it. Yeah. So, and what he shared also is about the work, this current model, the work-study model is a very fantastic model, because whatever you learn at work can be applied. Because in your schoolwork, for your exams, for your assignments, you may need to give examples. For example, case examples to illustrate a particular concept or whatever. So if you have that experience at work, it really helps sort of make your answers more fuller. Yeah. So it's very, very useful. Compared to some of my classmates who are not working in the field, they struggle because a lot of things are in the abstract. So they cannot give concrete examples to illustrate. Yeah. So last of all, I think a lot of us are, in our previous careers, probably we are quite senior already. Some may be senior managers or whatever. So coming in, working with a VWO, starting from scratch. So it's to have a right mindset, to remain humble, because sometimes your immediate supervisor may be much, much younger than you, but although he or she is much younger than you, but they are a lot more experienced in the field. So I think it's to be humble and to be receptive and not to be defensive. So that would make it, make yourself more teachable, and that will make your learning journey better as well. Yeah. So lastly, this is what I have to share with regards to the PCP process, but I would just like to maybe share a bit about what medical social work is, correct? Because patients, they would have, that due to their illness or injuries, okay, there's some psychosocial impacts that they will experience, correct? Besides the pain or the suffering due to the disease itself, there are other areas, like for example, they may lose income because they are not unable to work. All right, they may deal with the psycho-emotional distress due to the disease, or due to maybe they lost a limb, or they have chronic illnesses, they need to be dependent on somebody. So there's a lot of issues involved that they need help with. And also because of their medical illness and all that, they may also affect their social relations, the relations within the family. So let's say they have already very complicated family problems already coming into, once the patient has illness, it may aggravate all these issues also, so causing a lot of problems. So medical social workers, we help patients and families with their psychosocial issues arising from their illness or disease or injuries. So there are different settings within medical social work. So you can work in the acute hospitals like SGH, Tan Tock Seng. You can work like in NCC. For myself, I work in St. Andrews. St. Andrews is a community hospital. So basically, once patients, after their acute phase at the acute hospitals, right? Let's say they suffer a stroke in the initial phase. Once they are stabilized and they need rehabilitation, they'll come over to a community hospital where they'll get work with therapists, like physiotherapists, occupational therapists. So we work in the environment. Their stay usually is between 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah, and let's say they have fractures and all that, they'll come over to our hospital. So over at our site, what we medical social workers do at St. Andrews is 3 main things. One thing is we help with finances. So patients and their families may have problems with their medical bill at our hospital. So we can help with financial assessment and see if they qualify for Medifund. And also patients usually are elderly at our hospital. So post-discharge, they would need care arrangements. So we help with this discharge planning. So in the medical setting, the difference with the social side is that the hospitals, the objective is different from a social service agency, okay? Their objectives is more medical, okay? So once a patient in the hospital is already medically fit, they would want patient to be expeditiously discharged so that other patients can come in. However, sometimes things are not so straightforward because patients and families may have no caregivers to look after the patient, or they may not have the right resources to deal with patient's conditions. Or sometimes it may be just a family situation. Different family members wants different things. One wants to continue caring for the patient at home, another wants to send to a nursing home. So there may be family conflicts like that. Other things would be like a patient may have anxiety and may fear going home. Some elderly may be living alone, may have issues going home also. So there are a lot of different reasons why patients cannot go back, be discharged from hospitals so quickly. So our role is to help work on these issues, to work on the discharge plan so that patient can be discharged as soon as possible. Yeah. Then lastly, we also work with patients on their other psychosocial issues, like I've mentioned, like they may have emotional issues, they may have family conflicts, or they may have other issues that is worrying them due to their illness or their current situation. So we try to help them wherever we can, and where we are unable to, we also provide information and referrals to other services to assist in the community when they're back. That's maybe referring to a social service office for more long-term kind of financial aid, or maybe referring to family service centers to work on more long-standing issues. Yeah. So overall, that's what our medical social workers do. So I wish you all the best. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Heng.